Hey guys, it's Luna Elle, and you're watching the Hip Hop Guru.
My name is Alex. This is the Sit Down on the Hip Hop Guru, and today we have a very special guest in the building, Mississauga's own, Toronto's own, Luna Elle. How you doing?
Yes, I'm good. How are you?
I am good.
That's good. That's good.
So, let's start off with the name, cause I found out that's an abbreviation of a short form of your full name.
Yeah, it is. So, Luna, I've just always been into like astrology. I like the moon. I like the nighttime, and I feel like also my music gives off very nighttime vibes. And then L is part of my name, Michelle.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part about the moon? The front side of the, with the half moon or the full moon?
I like the quarter moon. I feel like it just looks the best aesthetically.
That's the best moon, hands down, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so you have success at a very young age. You know, you started off and put your first single out at 15 years old.
Yep. 15. Wow.
Talk about that.
It was a journey. I feel like I just went from a girl that was in quarantine, because this was during COVID, that didn't really know what to do but just loved music, to putting out like my first song at the same age in the same year, 15. And it's something I've always dreamed of. Like anybody that has known me since elementary and middle school has heard me talk about, I want to be a singer. And putting out that first song at 15, I just knew this was what I had to do.
Do you ever go back and look at that first song and think about like, wow, that's like what really gave me the success to, choose this as your passion as a career?
100%. Every time like a new thing happens, I have a new achievement, I go back to that first song, not even releasing it, recording it.
Hmm.
And because that was when I knew like this is it.
That's your career.
This is my thing. This is my moment. This is my destiny. That's what I'm meant to do.
So what was the first moment that you remember singing?
Ooh, my first memory of singing is when my grandpa passed away. Um, I was just like super sad about it, and I think before then I don't really remember, but like I've always been singing, and then I just made a random song, and my mom started recording it, and then that was my first real like memory of singing. But I'm sure I've always been singing before that. And yeah, she actually she actually found the video kind of recently, and she sent it to my manager, and then it ended up being posted on my account, and like I didn't even realize what was really going on until like
Mm.
I saw it, and I was like, oh, we're posting this, all right. And I just posted it, so a little embarrassing, but
No, I hear that. That's one of those moments that you have like true ultimate like passion and in the vocals because you're really singing to share your emotion in that, right?
yeah, yeah.
How did it feel when you watched it back?
It was kind of, it was weird because, well, A, I sucked because I was like 4 or something. um, but to know that this is something that I've always wanted, and
Mhm.
it's now something that I'm dedicating my whole life to, is it's really special to see. And I'm glad that that was caught on camera because I can always look back on it.
No, for sure. You said 4 years old.
Yeah, I was like 4 or 5. So clearly this has been a lifetime of loving music.
And that's super impressive because 4 years old, even having the confidence to be able to go up and do that, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
So, is this true that you had like an insecurity when you were growing up with your voice?
I always did. I have a lower voice. Like my voice is just a little deeper than most people, especially when I was growing up, most people my age, because when you're younger, you have like a super high pitched voice, but mine was always a little bit lower. And also listening to like radio records, like the Ariana Grandes, they all have pretty high voices, and mine's never really been too high, it's always been pretty low. So I used to not like it.
Mm.
I used to try to like conform to what was in, what was popular. But then there was like just one day I started listening to more R&B, and then I got like super into R&B, and I found the Tony Braxtons, I found the Sades, and then I kind of fell in love with the lower end of my voice. So
So, was there like a song specific? Because you with the Tony Braxton and Sade, like what was that song that you listened to? Because talking to you right now, I would have never heard it. So it's like it's interesting to hear, because everybody has that one thing that they think that's a little bit different, but to the most general public, most people wouldn't know it. So
yeah, the song that I remember listening to, which my mom actually showed me, was Unbreak My Heart by Tony Braxton. She has always loved that song. And like, I didn't really listen when I was little because obviously
you
I'm
wouldn't
like
think about it.
pop, like whatever's on radio. But then it's like when I hit like 12, I think, is when I started kind of like listening more to what she was playing, what my sister was playing. And that's when I really took it in. And I was like, I actually really like this song. And her voice is low and my voice is low. And it kind of gave me comfort in the fact that like I'm not the only one with like a super low voice. So gave me confidence.
Mm-hmm. Because it's it's the confidence that all that matters is really that you within like have that belief that this is what I'm doing. This is like the support from within, because everybody else, it might be good fluff, but at the end of the day, whatever you tell yourself is really kind of what you'll have flowing through your head and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So to go from that to go to a tour with IDK,
Yep.
and that was your first tour, first time being in the US,
Mm-hmm.
and the first major tour, being an opening act. How was that? Because you were an R&B artist opening for a hip hop artist.
Yes. Yeah. So before I even went on the tour, I was so stressed. I was like, what if they don't like me? This is a hip hop tour. I'm like, not only am I R&B, but like my R&B is a lot slower. It's a lot more mellow. It's a lot more emotional than quote unquote mainstream R&B.
Mm.
Um, and I was just like, I hope they like me. What if they don't vibe with it? They're coming here for hip hop and they're getting R&B.
Mm-hmm.
What am I supposed to do? So it was stressful. But then when I got there and when I had the first performance and the crowd reaction and everyone was really feeling it, that's when like my confidence started to pick up. And then each show I would work hard to get better because again, it's my first tour. I didn't really know what I was doing too much, but thankfully the people on the tour were really, really nice. They're my little tour fam, and they helped me get a lot more comfortable with being on stage.
So what was the biggest learning lesson that you found, like, that gave you the most confidence? That the first night it was tough, and then second night you kind of learned more and more as you got more stage presence and stuff like that.
The biggest lesson? They're there to hear music.
Mm-hmm.
Although they are there for a specific artist, they want to consume music in person. So whatever you're doing, they're there to see you. And that's how I kind of had to go on stage thinking. Because if I was thinking they're here to see IDK, not me, I would have crumbled.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's this guy named Beloved on the tour, and he told me, like, they're here to see you. And every day I'd go to him, ask him something, what can I do to improve this performance? So that was a really big moment. Yeah. That kind of changed my whole perspective and my whole performance, really.
Mm-hmm. Because then it's like, doesn't matter how many shows even that you do. Every time you go on the stage, it's gonna feel a little bit that there's so many people in front of you, but you just kind of have to pretend that, for one, they're not there, if you want to like just get that nervousness out, and then for two, it's kind of like you embrace the people, because those are all potential new fans, and then
Exactly.
people will gravitate towards you to see that you are trying to do big things, and a lot of people are there to support, but a lot of people think that they're not, so it's a really
Exactly.
interesting thing. So which stop in the tour was your favorite?
Ooh, I always like fight with myself with this answer because there's like a couple of places, but Oakland really was amazing. It was such a vibe. The crowd was amazing, singing along and everything. There's a couple people there that actually knew who I was as well, so that was
Hmm.
really fun. But a couple honorable mentions is like DC was good, Dallas was good, LA, LA was also really
LA.
good,
Hmm.
but Oakland really took the cake.
Oakland. What was it about Oakland that really kind of was the difference?
They were a lot more like the crowd was a lot more engaged. Like they were singing with like screaming with me.
Hmm.
And cuz I did a Lauryn Hill cover um or Fuji's cover Killing Me Softly and
Hmm.
they were screaming along and it was such a vibe.
Hmm.
And then there was like a little girl named Zoe and she was so cute and I got to talk to her afterwards. She was I think like 4.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
And that's
and she
crazy. Full
came.
circle of when you first started singing.
Exactly. So like I saw her and at first she was on the balcony and she came down. Her dad brought her down during like around the end of the show
Hmm.
and I gave her the biggest hug after because she was so cute and it's also her dream to become a singer.
Hmm.
And her dad was telling me how I was a really big source of inspiration for her. Like she
It's
really was
amazing.
into my performance and that made me feel so special and I did see a younger version of myself in her. So
Oh, for sure. And that literally somebody telling you that is like the biggest compliment you can get in life,
yeah,
right? Because then it's just you feel so accomplished, and it's just the most genuine thing you can say to somebody, you know.
exactly.
So I was gonna ask you like, well, what was something that somebody came up to you because you said people knew who you were, but that was
Hmm.
kind of like that was the answer to that one.
It was the answer to that one. That is like I'm always gonna remember it. Like the fact I'm always gonna remember her name. It was just yeah. It was just such a surreal moment. Yeah. Thank you, Zoe.
Shout out to Zoe.
Shout
That's
out to Zoe.
a real one. So that's so cool, honestly, because that just it goes from having this like defensive wall because you're scared to being so
Mm,
like happy and confident and grateful that what you're doing is giving somebody else that ability to feel some sort of motivation.
exactly.
So for you growing up, and right now, what are some dreams and aspirations you want to have as like a musician?
Hmm. I definitely do want to become the face of R&B in Canada.
Hmm.
That is that's a little short-term goal of mine because I do also dream of bigger things, but in the next hopefully 5 years, I want to be the face of R&B in Canada.
Hmm.
That's my goal. And then beyond that, if I could somehow work with like a Jasmine Sullivan or a Beyoncé, that's another goal of mine.
Those are the two dream collaborations right there.
Yes, 100%.
That would be cool. And then do a co-tour with Jasmine Sullivan or
Yes. Oh my gosh, I'd be so
Beyonce.
down.
Hmm.
Yes.
That'd be really cool. So 5 years from now, that'll happen for sure. You just have to.
100%.
What is it? Manifestation. Shout out to
Yes.
manifestation. Whatever you say will
Manifest.
happen. So talk about the cosign. So you've had some crazy cosigns so far. Really short career. Cosigned by Shaq is the next step
Yeah.
on Instagram. Chris Brown cosign on his story.
Yep. Yeah. To be honest, those were like I didn't believe either of them at first.
You're like, yeah, right, okay.
I didn't. I think I had gotten a notification that I was mentioned in Shaq's post, but
Hmm.
his name on Instagram was like Dr. Shaquille O'Neal.
Hmm.
And I was like, is that fake?
Is it a fan page or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. And I kind of just like ignored it. And then a flood of notifications were coming in. And I was like, let me go and check what's going on.
Like something's up. Yeah.
And then I saw the little check mark and I was like, oh my gosh, he really posted me. And then obviously, like, all my friends were like, oh my gosh, what's going on? That was for Shaq's. And then Chris Brown's story post, I was actually at soccer.
Mm-hmm.
I was at a soccer game. And after the game, there was like 3 people who texted me saying, "You're on Chris Brown's story." And I was like, "What?"
Mm-hmm.
And I go and check and I was right there. And I was like, wow.
You're
Cause
like, hold on.
he's an R&B like legend. Like he's really big in R&B. So I was feeling nice that day.
You move around a little bit different, you know. You're like, yeah, I'm that person, you know. Like, talk to me nice. But it's crazy too because his career kind of started taking off same time as yours as well, right?
Yeah.
So it's crazy how like paths like align, you know, like even with the girl at the show, like with the
Exactly.
and then Funk Master Flex, you know, legendary DJ, you know, played your song Crazy on the show.
He did. He did.
So how would like all these cosigns early on, how would like what's one that you would like be like you'd fall to the floor and be like, I can't believe this is happening right now and have to like, you know, go on the Instagram story and be like, yo, this is so crazy kind of thing.
Okay. I feel like everyone who knows me right now um, is already saying the answer to the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely Beyonce.
Mm-hmm.
If I got a cosign from Beyonce, I wouldn't even know how to act. Like I'd probably freeze and just look at a wall for like 3 days.
Yeah, I need some time to, you know, absorb this
Process
and
it. Yeah.
process this moment.
Yeah. That
Print
would
up.
be the biggest, like, she's the whole reason why I'm even singing now. She was
Mm-hmm.
like my biggest inspiration. So that would be amazing.
That'd be really cool. And shout out Beyonce, you know, legend, and she's still going, you know, legendary
Yes.
career, you know.
Yes.
So you were saying before you had a dream to play soccer, you know, professionally. You were playing soccer.
I did have that dream. Um, I've always played soccer since like, okay, not always, since I was like 8.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I've always been quite good at it, if I do say so myself.
Being humble, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And before I had any confidence with like singing, because there was always like someone who would tell me, keep it as a hobby. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like a career path. Um, so I started pursuing soccer. And although I did want to be a professional player, soccer is also like a way into schools.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of why I was taking soccer so serious. But my heart was always with music. And then when I started music and doing soccer, like
A lot to handle at one time.
there was a lot, especially because I was also still in school.
Mm-hmm.
There was just, I couldn't do everything.
So how was it like dealing with all that at once, and then you know would one take kind of more of your energy, and then you'd lose out on the like you know quality of the other one kind of thing.
Yeah. So I found that happening a lot, especially the year I dropped my first project, my first EP.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing a lot of late night shoots, and then I'd get up for school.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what time I got home, I had to go to school the next day.
Show goes on, of course.
Yep. And then I would always wake up late, and then I'd miss like my first period class, and then I was falling behind in school, and then I'd have to go to practice.
Mm-hmm.
And then to catch up on school, I'd have to not go to practice that day or cancel a session or something. So it was always like a give and take from one of the other aspects of my life. And it was really draining.
Mm-hmm.
So then,
Because playing soccer is also a lot of you know energy that you have to, you know, run
so
on the
much.
field. You know, mental, learn the plays and this and that.
So much. And especially because I was at a relatively high level, it was frequent.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was like 2-3 practices a week, couple games a week. I was being called up to the higher level team that's at our club. Like there's just so much going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to make a decision for myself, and that was to choose music over everything.
You have to follow your passion, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What about like with soccer? Did it teach you about expectations with like you know how you deal with a team, how you have to you know have a certain level of ambition for you know going to you know practice and this and that.
Mm-hmm. Soccer was a lot of dedication. I've been playing like rep level soccer since middle school. So I've always had like a scheduled practice or something. And it's a lot of time and effort
Mm-hmm.
to be good at it. So that's definitely helped in my music life because I'm always willing to put in the time to improve myself.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Whether it's learning about music theory, which can seem so random to some because it's not necessarily needed anymore,
Mm-hmm.
but that's something I really am interested in to further my craft. And even making this project, Ms Elle, I was in studio all the time. And I didn't even, like, I never complained about it because I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't see my friends for the entire summer
Mm-hmm.
because I was just in studio. And I feel like soccer helped a lot with that because I've always been dedicated to doing something.
No, for sure.
So,
Like, there's two important parts there because you're saying that you love to do it, right? And when you love to do something, you'll never look at it as if it's like a 9 to 5, where it's
exactly.
like, it's been 30 minutes. I have this many hours remaining,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like when you truly enjoy what you do, then you're gonna be there until whatever hour of the night because you don't even realize that you've been there for that long, right?
Exactly.
And then there's never like a ceiling to what you can learn because like even with an example of like Kobe Bryant in basketball, he was so many championships that he've won. He was still at the gym the next day putting up shots so he could learn ways to get better, right?
Exactly.
And then there's always something new to learn, even if you're like the best, So
Mm-hmm.
quote unquote best, because there's no such thing as perfect, and
Exactly.
anybody who believes in they're perfect, it's kind of a bit of a ego thing going on,
Mm-hmm.
So, but those are really really important notes, and I think that sports helps because it also allows you to get a general idea of like what's on the field. How do I play my next move? What's the
Exactly.
so your music is also very mature for your age. You're talking about relationships at like 15 years old, and how was your friends' reaction when they first started hearing the songs?
Well, my friends have always been super supportive. So they were always like super proud of me, but like some of the stuff I talk about is not personal to me. Like
Mm,
it's other people's stories, it's stories I've heard, things I've seen on the internet, and I just kind of like craft a story on my
mm-hmm,
own cuz like especially at 15, I didn't have much to go off of.
mm-hmm.
I was in high school focusing on school, really. So they'd always make jokes and stuff because they know like I've never gone through anything that I'm talking about. How are you even doing
Yeah, I
this?
was like,
Yeah.
damn, how you like that's a deep, song to go through.
Yeah,
Like I haven't even gone through something like that crazy at that time. I was like, damn. Yeah.
exactly. So there's always like little jokes and stuff like that. And then even my family, they'd be like, "So, who's this about?" And I'm like, "No one. It's not about anyone. Don't worry." So there was always jokes around me, but it's all love at the end of the day. So
So is there like a movie that you watched that you were just like, between soccer practice, you're just like, this is, Coach Carter just made me so sad, and then it's just this one's the one that truly gave me the vision of
like it's not necessarily movies. I'm actually really into K dramas.
okay.
So Korean TV. And like I'm into like the super sappy like love story.
Yeah.
I'm into the super like sappy love ones. So I'll kind of draw inspiration from there, from like the storylines,
Hmm.
and try to make that into a song. But yeah.
You know what's crazy? Actually, I was put onto one of those shows recently, and I was like, all right, I was naive because I didn't know what the storyline was about or anything.
Hmm.
I watched a couple, and I was like, wow, these are actually really deep topics. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot going on in this one episode, from
Hmm.
the concept of like situations in life to how to overcome fear and stuff like that. I wasn't expecting that.
They're
So
so
that's
good. They're
yeah.
underrated. You should go and watch a K drama.
So which one's your favorite then?
Ooh, that's hard. I've watched so many.
There's so many good ones.
Recently, there's one called Luna. It's on Netflix.
Luna.
No, Duna. It's like
Duna. Okay.
Doona.
Okay. Okay. I was gonna
Yeah,
say. Yeah.
almost though. And that one's really good. That one's actually about like an influencer, like celebrity. So you should go and watch that one.
Shout out to that show.
Shout out
Definitely gonna
to
have to check
Luna.
that one.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Did you feel like a connection to it?
I did, but I was also fortunate enough not to because it's kind of like on the darker end of like
Oh, the
the
sad part of
industry.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was parts that I could connect with, but fortunately there's also things that I've never experienced and hopefully won't. So,
Oh, I hear that.
yeah.
You know what? Also, that reminds me of there's one Lil Tecca song at the beginning of his career where he was saying all these things, and it went on like a Genius interview, and then they were like, he's like, "Did you do these things?" He's like, "I drove a car." He was like 15. He's like, "I never drove a car in my life," or something like that. You know, it's kind of funny. But so let's talk about the latest project, or actually before that, your style of R&B is not common to many people of your age. You know, like your friends, what they're listening to might be a certain style of music, but you have like the early or late 90s, early 2000s kind of vibe to your music.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite album that you've listened to that gave you the most motivation?
Ooh. During the project or just in general?
I guess both.
Ooh. It's going to be a Beyonce one.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Beyonce or Destiny's Child. I'd say B Day by Beyonce. That one has influenced me greatly,
Mm-hmm.
as well as Destiny's Fulfilled, Destiny's Child.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, also, more recently, a Jasmine Sullivan project, Hotels. That one's also influenced me a lot. And Jasmine Sullivan also has like a throwback sound. So
Mm-hmm.
those are three of the main ones that have influenced my sound.
Those are some good albums, you know, when you listen to it, you're just like, this is music, you know?
I agree.
So with that in mind, let's go on to your projects, you know? So you've recently dropped the project Ms Elle,
Yes.
which is growth of self from, you know, from heartbreak to confidence, where you're changing to a new chapter. Walk us through the journey of the project and what it means to you.
All right. So when I had decided to make another project, my main goal was to show that I've grown as a person and artist. That was number one for me because I never want to be that person that's stagnant and stuck in one era of their life. So much has happened throughout my 3 years of being in the industry, and I wanted to show that. So Souls Align, the first track, which is my personal favorite. That one's my favorite because I have like a little thing about harmonies. Like I love doing harmonies. And I've gotten so much better at being able to decide how to arrange my harmonies and where to kind of place them. And that was like the song that really shows it. So there's that. And also there's a lot of different types of R&B on the project. So there's more of like an underground vibe with Souls Aligned and All the Feels.
You're hitting the notes on that one too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're going off on that one.
It's almost like a Toronto vibe, to be honest. There's also Baby Please, which is more of like a neo soul vibe. Pick Up I'm Alone is a little more alternative. And then there's like my classic ballads with Can't Take It and Taking Control. Can't Take It. Can't Take It is that ballad, I can't lie. But that was kind of like my whole goal for this was not only to show growth, but to show that I'm just R&B as a person. Like I just encapsulate R&B. Like it's just me.
Flows through the blood.
Yeah. So all different types of R&B, no matter how small the subgenre is, I probably listen to it and I love it so much.
No, so there's a lot of growth in this one. What do you think and we'll get back into that part in a second.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the biggest takeaway from your journey was from the previous LOVE project to this one?
Experiment. I used to be very scared of like
Putting something out there and
putting
seeing if it
something
would
out
work.
there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This project is very different from my last project.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more risk involved with it because my last project worked for me.
Mm-hmm.
People liked it. I liked it. But I was so scared about what people would think about this one because
Mm-hmm.
it's so different, sounds so different. And every day, every day leading up to the project dropping, I wasn't sure if I chose the right songs.
Really?
I was, yeah, I was overthinking about everything. I'd go back through my file of 30 songs. I don't know how I cut it down from 30 to 7, but my 30 song file, and I would go through listening to them all.
Mm-hmm.
And I would overthink about if I chose the right final cuts.
But that shows that you truly have, a love for every single song on there, right?
I do. I put so much effort into each and every one. And so I think the biggest takeaway is don't be scared to experiment because I think I made my best body of work so far. Being able to take that jump and choose those different songs to put on it, even if I wasn't sure about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my biggest takeaway.
But that's the most important part in anybody's process too, because you never know what'll be the one that takes you to the next level. And anybody who tries to play the safe game is just going to usually stay in one position because if it worked for somebody else, it's not necessarily going to work for you.
Exactly.
But if you take that chance to give yourself that true sound that you have within your realm of creativity, then that'll be what sets you aside from somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
So it's good that you took that leap of faith from within to put that out there.
Yeah, I'm glad because I do love the project from front to back. So
Mm-hmm. So how did you choose like the sequencing from which songs were in order to the last?
this was kind of hard because I wanted the journey of the project to kind of be like how I am, and I overthink a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of switching from one perspective to another and bouncing back. You bounce from self-worth to I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know. I kind of miss you even though you treated me bad to no, you treated me bad. You don't deserve me. So there's a lot of like bouncing from subject to subject. And that's kind of how like my thought process is. Like I'll think of the good and bad and bad and good and good and bad and bad and good. And so that's why this project is a little more personal because it kind of represents that.
Mm-hmm.
But I also wanted it to sound cohesive sonically. So it was kind of a struggle to make the decision between storyline and how it sounds. But I found a balance and I kind of just went with it.
Those are also just normal, emotions, like nobody's
Exactly.
gonna wake up and just be like, this is the perfect thought process. This is the perfect life,
Exactly.
Even if you're the most successful, there's always going to be up and downs, right? So,
I agree.
and do you believe that there's such thing as like a luck? Or
Luck, 100%. There's so much that relies on luck. If anything, like even how I started was pretty lucky because it was my manager finding me and because I never thought that I could actually have a chance.
mm-hmm.
So that first time of me stepping in studio was because my manager happened to stumble across me on my sister's Instagram story. That was luck in itself. So luck is always a part of things,
Mm-hmm.
but then it's how you build off of that luck that
That's
decides where you're going.
when preparation meets opportunity kind of thing.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And it's super important to have the right people around because all it
100%.
takes sometimes is the one person in your corner to tell you, yes, you can, and then you're just like, wait a second, I am that person, and then you're just like, all right, let
Exactly.
me see where it goes. And then one thing leads to another. You just over time just get better and better.
Yeah. kind of how it went for me. So
That's amazing. Well, shout out to you and shout out to the team.
100%. Thank you, team. I love you guys so much.
Shout out to the fam. So what's the toughest part about being a new artist for you in the music industry?
I feel like not knowing exactly how things go, because I'm kind of learning as I go.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that's the case for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But I just like to have like knowledge. Like I want to know. I have like a fear of not knowing things. So the fact that there's so much I still don't know about the industry is kind of a struggle for me. Like it's a little nerve-wracking, especially as a new artist. But I'm very sure a lot of people feel that way and it's completely normal.
Mm-hmm.
But I still kind of struggle with it sometimes.
No, of course, because it's like it's such a large industry.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, a lot of people know the same people.
Yeah.
So at the same time, it's relationship based, and saying not knowing what's going on. Even to go back to Coach Carter, that movie ruined the ending of movies for me, because at the end they're just like giving an explanation of each person, what happened in their life, what they did. So I'm like, wow, I have closure in a movie, so I
Yeah.
know what's happening. I can turn it off and be like, I know what happened to that person.
Exactly.
And then when you watch it, there's like a cliffhanger. Maybe there's a second movie. Maybe there's a third movie. So
Yeah.
it's like not having like exact certainty is kind of tough, but at the same time, it allows for learning what's next. And that had no relation, but I just felt like I had to get that
I
out
got
there.
it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I got it. Yeah, especially being like, a lot of the times I'm the youngest in the room.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much I don't know. Like even like there's certain pop culture references that people will like say, and I'm just like
Smiling and nodding.
I wasn't alive. I don't know.
You're like, wow, that's a great reference,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
like even like first time we met you guys was at Filltheblnk as well.
Mm-hmm.
So how was that like performing there and then like even speaking to people?
It was very fun because I feel like it's kind of a different vibe than what I'm used to. Usually I perform somewhere that like people are expecting me to perform at.
Mm-hmm.
But Fill in the Blank is very spontaneous. Like you just perform if you perform.
Mm-hmm.
So that was an interesting experience. I liked it because there's a lot of different types of people there, and there's a lot of different types of reactions. And then I got to meet so many people that I don't think I would have met if I didn't do the performance.
For sure.
So that was fun. Like, I mean, we met there. So
that is true. And you know what? What's a cool thing about that is that it's kind of an open stage where there's no expectations.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you can just be free to perform, and
it's just all about art.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
And then fast forward sometime, you're at TIFF.
Yep.
How was that?
TIFF was fun. I was kind of nervous because it was outdoor, and I think that was my first outdoors performance, and it's a little bit of a different vibe. But it's also kind of, it's hard because when you first start singing, like the start of your set, there's not many people there.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of feel like you're just kind of performing to trees and sky and building.
Yeah.
But then I didn't even realize, but as we went along, like there was like a big crowd that had formed. And at the end, I looked out and I was like, that's a lot of people that were not here before.
Mm.
And I'm glad I could connect with all those people because clearly they liked what they were hearing if they came over. So
no, that's a huge sense of, relief too and motivation, because you're just like thinking there's not that many people, and then you perform and then you're just like, wait a second, where'd all these people come from?
Exactly.
So that must have felt and then you did that other thing too, the
Just for Laughs.
Yeah. That's a tough crowd too, because comedian crowds are just, very
they
hardcore.
Have expectations. Yeah. That was a little nerve-wracking, but there was these two people I didn't get to meet with them after, but there's these two girls in the front and they were like really into it, and that gave me like the most confidence. And as soon as I saw them like singing along with me with some of the covers, I was like, okay. And I felt a lot more comfortable and killed the performance, if I do say so myself. So
That's the thing, because you never know who's a fan, So it's
exactly.
like, but that must have felt like another one of those moments where you're like, yeah, I'm moving different, Like,
Yeah, it gives you a little more confidence, a little more vim on stage. So I did
uh,
appreciate them. Yeah.
no, that's really cool. So, if you were to go back to the beginning and tell
Mm-hmm.
yourself some advice that you know now, having all these shows, having done a opening act as tour, putting all these projects out, what would be that one thing that you would tell yourself?
I would tell myself not to overthink because that is the biggest hindrance that I've come across is I overthink about everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like through not overthinking, I'd have so much more confidence to do different things and to again experiment. I could have experimented earlier and just not had this sense of it's not going to be good because that's just
Mm-hmm.
stress. I don't need the stress. I don't need that. And I just do need to trust in myself more. That's what I would say.
And that's just like, normal with anybody where you go over time, you get more comfortable with what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, it's a funny question for you specifically because you're still so new to it, So it's not like, imagine at 4 years old, you're going to go on stage and you're just going to, start. I still don't know how Michael Jackson did it.
Right?
Imagine like with the Jackson 5 and all that. So that was crazy. And, for you, shout out to you that you've already had a lot of confidence at your age doing this
Mm-hmm.
now. So, you know, just know that you are way farther than anybody has probably done it in the city, for one, and in the industry as a whole. So, big, big pat on the back. So,
Shout
when
out to myself.
shout out to you. So, when people listen to Luna Elle, what do you want them to experience?
I want them to have comfort in the fact that you're not alone. Whatever you're experiencing, someone else is experiencing. It's normal to feel how you feel. And this is kind of like a little family vibe. I I put myself out there so that you guys can be able to understand that there's someone else like you. Cause that's what Tony Braxton did for me in terms of me feeling comfortable about the depth of my voice. So that's what I want to give to someone else. Yeah,
And there was that moment with that young fan too, so you're already on path for that.
I am. I am.
So we'll end it off with one thing, and that was a great answer, by the way.
Thank you.
With what is something that your fans wouldn't know about you?
Ooh, that's hard. What do Huh. Oh my gosh, I feel like there's so much that everyone knows. I would say I can't say that I have a dog because everyone knows I have a dog now.
Secrets out there.
Yep. Damn. I actually don't know. What do you guys not know?
Fans know everything.
Do you know my favorite color? I don't think so. My favorite color is purple. I know it's so random, but that's like the only thing no one knows.
Purple.
Lavender, to be specific.
Lavendar.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic.
I need a better answer. Like, what do we not know?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
It's a tough one because what do you share? It's
I
like
feel like I share so much.
you're so open in the music.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wish that I could be like, yo, back in the day, I was, playing in the NBA, and nobody knew, but I let other people have that dream because you got to give some other people their ability to have their shot, and I just wasn't good enough, so that doesn't even count. Well,
Yeah. I don't know. You took my soccer thing, so I can't say that either.
would you return to soccer if there was like a celebrity match game or like a thing going on, and then?
I definitely would.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be fun. But I feel like I'd be so out of shape by then.
you just get a little training going on, how, and then just go play in the Canadian World Cup, the next
Mm,
one, and then just win it and then retire.
true. It might be a goal of mine now.
There you go. It's never too late. So thank you for your time.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
No, for sure. And that is the sit down on the Hip Hop Guru.